computer. Yes, and I will post it after class.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Share. Here we go.
Wait, but is it also like, is it possible to do like previous? Did you record the previous lectures as well, or?
Some, yes.
Okay.
And the last
yeah.
time we met, I wasn't able to do it because
Oh yeah.
I wasn't the host.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I'll post everything I can.
Thank you so much.
Sure. So we set this up with a bleed, right? So that's the first step to being able to output with the bleed, is to set it up with the bleed. So let me start over again, because I didn't really emphasize that. File new. And we chose tabloid, which is 11 by 17. And over in the right-hand column here, you got inches. We're working portrait. And the bleed is set to 0.125. So if you're working in inches, that's just one little clicky up on the arrow. So if you don't set your bleed up to begin with, you can't output with a bleed. Now, I can't tell you how many times I've accidentally forgot to put the bleed in and then had to go back and put it in. That's no big deal. You just go back to the screen and pop in that dimension and you're good to go. Yeah, okay. I like to work in a double stack like that. And you can see if I want to zoom in to the bleed line here, that's the red line there. So the black line is the edge of the document where it would be trimmed. And the red line is for anything that goes to the edge, has to go over the edge to the red line to set you up for the bleed. So many of you will design with a bleed, if not all of you. So maybe I like to illustrate it with a colored background. So let's say I want the whole background to be a color. That's better. And then let's say I put my images and my text on top of that. So this square and this bit of text are non-bleed elements. The background is a bleed element. So there's anything that bleeds, even if it were this box, has to go at least to the red line. Let me neaten this one up a little bit. It's okay if it goes over the red line, but it has to at least go to the red line. The red line is 1/8 of an inch away from the edge where they're going to trim it to size. Pretty basic concept, but what you can't do is, and this is what people who don't design for print might not necessarily know, is you want, an image or something to be right on the edge. So you'll design it to the edge like that. And then that's fine, if you're going to output to PDF and look it on the screen. But if you're going to go to print, you have to move it over to that red line so that they can come back and they can slice right here on the black line. And then your color goes absolutely positively to the edge. No little slivers of white paper coming through. It's clean, it's neat, it's good. So when I output a PDF for print ready, first thing I do is set up the bleed. Then I do my design, and I've got some things on the edge here. I'm just going to put this one like right there. Okay, so you can see the lines well enough. So I'll file save that. I'm done with it, let's say. Slow computer. I think Zoom slows everything up. I'm blaming it on Emily. Just for fun. No. Oh no. The beach ball of death. The beach ball of COVID. Ah, okay. So after I save it, I output it to PDF. Now, if you're in design and you output to PDF, it's export as. If you're an illustrator, it's save as. They like to make it difficult. Why? I don't know why they couldn't keep it consistent all the way through, but that's how it works. So file, save as, change your format to PDF, and it'll automatically put on the extension for you. It'll use the same name, but it'll change the AI to PDF. You don't have to type it in. But what you have to pay attention to is the next screen after you hit save, because that takes you to the PDF dialog box. And that's where you can set the crop marks and the recognition for the bleed. So once I get to the save Adobe PDF dialog box, first of all, there's this menu on the top, which is the preset menu, and it has pretty much all you'll ever need to use in it. So Illustrator default would be fine, fine, fine. There's also a choice here called high quality print. Can't go wrong with that. We're outputting to print. Now, these other ones are used for different things. Like I used to work in a shop where we worked on a PDF X1A format right here because it was calibrated to our machines and stuff, because this is a professional output tool. But for us, either Illustrator default or high quality print are going to be just fine. So we choose that and then we modify it. So right now it doesn't recognize the bleed and it doesn't show crop marks. So along the left-hand side here, you'll see a series of choices. And the third one down from general is marks and bleeds. So first thing you want to come down here is where it says bleed. So the bottom part says bleeds right here. And the upper part says marks and bleeds. So come down to the part where it says bleeds right here and check the box. That is the most important thing to do. And you saw how difficult that was. I actually had to use my mouse to click on that tiny square. Oh my button pushing finger is sore. So I'm making fun of it because it's the one thing that you can't get graphic designers to do, no matter how hard you try. My friends worked in print shops. I worked in print shops, and you get documents from quote unquote designers, and you know they're highfalutin, wonderful artists. And they work for big corporations and big educational institutions, and they can't remember to check the goddamn bleed mark. So then you got to send it back, or you have to figure out a way to do a workaround, and it's just, when you get to production, it's a nightmare. But we're not done. It's not enough to just check this little box. Oh no, for us, in this application, we also need to come up here where it says marks and we need to click trim marks. Now, there's another choice up here that says all printer's marks. And, that's okay too. That won't hurt anything. But then you get more than trim marks. You get things that the printer would need, possibly, like color bars and page information and registration marks. Those are all tools that a printer uses to line up all the colors and to make everything come out real pretty. So we don't really need that. It wouldn't hurt to put it in. But all we really need is trim marks. So those will be the cut lines, and they'll go right through the color on the bleed, assuming that we set up the bleed to begin with and that we check the use document bleed settings in the Save Adobe PDF dialog box. Okay. So we go back to General, and oftentimes this one is checked for me automatically, but when I say save PDF, I want it to just bust open and show me the PDF. If I don't have that checked, it's to save the PDF, but it'll just save wherever it is, and then I got to go look at it to open it up. And I almost always want to look at it right after I save it, to make sure that it's okay. Now, since we're talking about PDF and we're talking about output to print, we're always interested in managing file size. So we don't spend a lot of time managing file size in this class because we're not actually working with service bureaus or people who produce things. But managing file size is a huge deal, especially when you're doing websites, because then the files have to be small. If they're not small, they won't load quickly, and people won't wait for them, and then your design will never be seen. But there's one right here called Preserve Illustrator Editing Capabilities, and it is in the General tab here on the left. So the General tab is the default tab that you see when you log on to it. But if you uncheck that, it retains the quality of the PDF, which we've chosen up here in presets as being high quality. But it also reduces file size, yay. So if I uncheck that and I say save PDF, it'll give me a warning sign. It'll say, hey, James, you won't be able to open this PDF back up in Illustrator and edit it because you unchecked the box. And I'm like, I'm fine with that because I saved my original Illustrator file as an AI file on my hard drive. And that's my edit file. I can always go back to my original edit file. I can spit out as many PDFs as I want. So just because this particular PDF I'm spitting out without editing capabilities preserved, I don't care. I don't care. So this is for people maybe who only have the PDF and don't practice good file management by keeping their original. And this is true in any kind of document you make, web, video, whatever. Okay, enough talk. So in review, quickly, I went to Marks and Bleeds and I checked the box for Use Document Bleed settings. I checked the box for trim marks. I went to General and I made sure that the checkbox for View PDF after saving is checked. And to reduce file size, I unchecked my Preserve Illustrator editing capabilities. So here we go, Save PDF. And see, that's that warning sign. James, you won't be able to open it up in Illustrator and edit it because you unchecked the box. I don't care. Thank you, though, for reminding me. All right, there it goes. And since I asked to see it right afterwards, it should pop open. Okay, it popped open. And this is exactly what I want to see. So the bleed is the part on this side, on the outside of the crop marks. So you can see right in the middle of my screen there that we would cut through the color. So there's a set of these on all four corners. Fit on page. Yeah, There's a set of these on all four corners. Down here, left, right, top, and bottom. And the blade would come down and cut through the color on all four sides, along the left-hand side, along the top. So there is so there's this idea that when you trim a printed piece of paper, that you can actually trim to the edge of the color. So you might say, James, why can't I just take a razor blade and follow this edge right here and cut it off that way and get a bleed that way? That is physically possible, but it's difficult, it's cumbersome, it's easy to make an error. So what happens when you try to do that, even if you're really good at it, you end up with little white bits that you couldn't trim off evenly. So you end up with an uneven line. We don't want to ever see an uneven line. So even if you're doing this manually with a razor blade, if you put your straight edge here and then cut on the right-hand side of that line, you'll get a straight edge, but you'll never get a white slit because you're cutting through color all the way down. That 1/8 of an inch is your margin of error. Because when the ink hits the paper, I would remind that when you print stuff, you print lots of them. You print hundreds, maybe even thousands. And where the ink hits the paper is not totally consistent from page to page. So in the real world, when you have to output things to a physical form like print, you have to build in accommodations. And that 1/8 of an inch is your accommodation. It's your margin of error. And without that, you don't get good output. So it's also going to cut through my green square here too, because it's above the cut line. So when you turn in your PDF of your vector portrait, and by the way, could you please turn in also your original images so that I can do a comparison? I don't think I mentioned that last week. I'll put that in the chat. So when you turn in your vector portrait, I'm going to open it up in Acrobat like this, and this is what I'm going to look for. I'm going to come down here to the left, and it's a cool thing about Acrobat. We come down here to the left, and it spits up the size. It gives a readout for the size. And I know that the output size is 11 by 17. So this dimension here, let me get a close-up of that. That should be something larger than 11 by 17. So mine is 11.92 by 17.92. So it's 0.92 bigger than 11 by 17. And it needs to be to accommodate the bleed. So I'll check that to make sure that it's something larger than 11 by 17, because that's the target size. And then I'll look to see that your crop marks here are actually going through some kind of color. Now, you may not have a bleed on every corner. So, I mean, you might have just partial bleeds that come out here and there. That's fine. I'll still be able to look at it and know if you did the crop marks right. The big telltale thing is if the crop marks end up on the edge of the color, here and here, which is also something that happens quite a bit, both with novice and seasoned designers, then that's wrong. The crop marks absolutely have to go through and be trimmed down back to the other side. So here's a question for you. And this is the quiz question. If you want to print an 11 by 17 document with a bleed, if you want to get it printed, what size piece of paper do you need? Anyone want to wary a guess? And then everyone will know for the quiz.
12 by 18?
Right, 12 by 18. Or more succinctly, anything larger than 11 by 17.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
normally it would be 12 by 18. But it's quite possible that in a print shop that's printing this CMYK, they might have a giant press where they put them up where they put 2 or 4 of them up on a single sheet of paper and print them all at once. So they're still bleeds. They're still larger than 11 by 17, but they ganged them up. So the answer is 12 by 18 or any dimension that you name, or if you just put in the answer, any piece of paper larger than 11 by 17. It's kind of like sewing or tarps. If you've ever bought tarps, or like there's a tarp size, you go to the store and you buy a tarp and it's 12 by 12 feet by 12 feet. It's not actually, when you get it home, 12 feet by 12 feet. 12 feet by 12 feet is the trim size, and then it's hemmed. So there's a hem around it very often, and so it won't have a jagged edge, and there's eyelets, holes that you can tie things to. So if it equates to tarps, and it probably equates to sewing in some instance too, but the idea is that the trim size is different than the production size, or in the print shop we call it the press sheet size. So to use Barbara's example, my press sheet might be 12 by 18 and my trim size is 11 by 17, or my output size is 11 by 17. Okay. Now I need to post some screenshots of this, and I have them. So I'll get those posted up before the end of the day. Okay. How are we doing on the portraits? Would anybody like to show and tell? Sharing is caring. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute.
I'm having I would like pasteurize my posterize my thing, but I can kind of show like what I'm gonna plan to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it. I like how you said it the first time, pasteurized. That was a good one.
Can you see it?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I just need to kind of like have some help because I'm kind of behind on it, just mostly because I've been busy and I'm just like kind of like around the place, so like I literally need some help. But this is like I'm kind of planning to do like one glass like lens red, one blue, and
Yeah, you told me that last time too, but I haven't seen any drawing here. You got some drawing?
yeah, because I'm just pretty busy. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I also have my original one.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
Can I make a statement about this one real fast?
yes.
Could you zoom in a little for me on it?
Sure. Like how much?
Just zoom in so we can see the I don't know, 40%, like that. That's fine. So I want to remind you that when you start tracing, you are not tracing jagged edges.
Just make it like smooth in a sense.
Right. So zoom out just a little bit, if you wouldn't mind. Yeah, perfect. So see how the striation on your cheek over on the right-hand side goes from light to dark?
Yes.
Yeah, you didn't have to move it. You're in a good spot. Yeah, so you've drawn one thing there, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I know.
That's the idea. You smooth those lines. So there's tons of jagged lines there, but they follow the same contour. So when you draw, you want to smooth those lines. You don't want to make it look artificial, but you don't need any of that jagged. You just need nice contours.
Okay, I'll be using my pencil tool just to because I'm more used to pencil than pen. It's a lot harder.
Fine. And you know about the fidelity slider in the pencil tool?
Yeah, smooth.
Okay.
Yeah, I have it already.
Now on that, you might want to go back and forth a little bit, because sometimes all the way smooth won't give you the tiny details that you need. So if you find when you're drawing that it's looking flat and overly smooth, go back to that pencil tool and make it a little less so that you get a truer line. Because it still smooths pretty good at 3/4. but it allows you, it's like when I type in the chat room, I may have told you this, but we're doing websites. So we're doing WordPress websites, and they have to open up an application and open up a folder and then drag the website in. And the folder is called HT Docs. So whenever I type it into the chat, it says hot dogs. So it's like that. You don't want the machine to overcorrect. You just want it to help you draw.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for sharing. Next time. So today is really the critique for this drawing. And you got a lot of work to do. So if you could stop sharing, I'd like to see somebody else.
I read it.
Oh, you already did. Okay. Come on, somebody. And not, so,
Okay.
you know, like, just like in class,
just like in class,
something's happening.
I don't have the final draft, but I kind of tried to get my feet wet here. So
Yeah, show me your wet feet.
yeah, show me your wet feet.
So somebody's in twice.
Somebody's in twice.
That's why we're getting this
That's
echo.
why we're getting this echo.
All right.
All right.
Could you turn off the eyeballs in your layers panel and show me the original?
Show me the original.
So you didn't posterize
You
it,
didn't posterize.
and you didn't take away the color.
You didn't take the color. No, I was just trying to practice first and see like what it felt like, just to kind of get in there before going in for the posterized version with more layers.
It's really hard to understand you on the audio, but I think I caught most of it. Now, when you turn the eyeballs back on the drawing, that's why it looks so blocky. It looks really blotchy. When you draw these contours of light and shadow, you deliberately overlap them. So when you're drawing, say, the darker gray on your face, and it's coming against the tan on your cheek, you don't want to try to align those lines up. You want one to overlap the other. So I'm seeing those slits of tan between the white and the gray. So if you'd posterized it, you'd be able to see these. You'd be able to see these a little better, and then your drawing would be easier. But what happens is you'll draw something big on the bottom, and then you'll draw a highlight on top of that, and you have to keep changing the arrangement so that the smaller pieces come on top. Because this, it tends to look a little flat. I know you're not done with it yet, but I would think you'd get better results by posterizing it, reducing the amount of detail, and getting rid of the color. Because what we're doing here is tones from light to dark. But thank you for sharing. Keep working, bro. Keep working. I hope we can get rid of that echo now. Yay, all right. Now, the same people that share in class share online. And the same people that are quiet in class are quiet online.
I'll share, James.
Thank you. I would expect that.
I know. Me as well. All right. Is it up?
All right, you did the background and everything. You are not afraid of hard work. Oh my gosh.
The hard work, yeah. So I did the soft on the face, but in the hair, I kind of left it jaggedy just because that's how it went.
That's fine.
Is that
That's
right?
an aesthetic decision, right? You always make an aesthetic decision. So my one thing that I
Mm-hmm.
want to say about this is the jacket in the background are so much brighter than your face
Yeah.
that the emphasis might benefit from being reversed. Your face, I'm thinking, should be the emphasis, and your jacket in the background should be less. So how do you go about that? You can maybe take the opacity back on the background
Mm-hmm.
and maybe even put a light behind your head, like a little glow or something. Because
Okay.
right now the jacket and the orange are dominating.
Right. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I always have issues with color. I wish I had a color theory class. All
Well,
right.
it's really, there's not much to learn. They have fancy names and stuff for it. But if you reduce saturation, you make a color duller.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
So do you want me to do it through the tint scale, or do you want me to do it like on opacity?
If you were outputting it to print, we would need to do it on a tint scale.
Okay.
But for us, it really doesn't matter. You could do opacity. I'm going to
So I could
sneeze.
dull
Hold
it like that.
on. Sorry.
Bless you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now it's becoming peach instead
Okay.
of such a dark orange. And the orange was complementing nicely with the blue coat.
Yeah.
But
But
it's
then,
but
yeah.
your face is getting lost in some of that detail or some of that vibrancy.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Because we want to see your pretty face.
Well, it took a lot. I like this better than my real face. You can smooth it out a little bit. Take advantage of it, right? All right. I
They
will let
both look
somebody
good.
else stop
Okay.
share. All right.
Oh, look at that, Barbara! You look so cute from I don't know how to say the name, Kahiana. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was very nice. Let's see. Now today's actually critique day, so I really do have to see what you got. Dorian, are you out there? Could we see yours?
Oh, yeah. I haven't started on it yet.
Okay. Have you? Then let me at least see your picture, maybe.
I recently had changed my hair, so I wanted to take another one.
Okay. Yeah, we want to see your new do.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm trusting you a lot now because, I want to make sure that you got the point about the jagged lines and the overlapping colors and the fact that we're not being a camera and we're not trying to reproduce the posterization. It's a starting point that we interpret.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Amir was already kind enough to show. And so, Kahiana, would you be willing to show yours?
I'm also on Dorian's side right now. Haven't really started it currently. Mainly because I also want to look cute. So I wanted to look nice. But yeah, I'm still working on it, yes.
Okay, for both of you guys, remember when you take the picture,
Yeah.
you want a good picture of yourself, true, but what you want is darkness and light, right?
No, yeah. I'm looking at the examples that we're seeing right now, and I'm understanding what you need. So yeah,
Dark on one side, light
dark on
the
one
other.
side, light on one side, and then no jagged lines, and don't be. Yes, I got it.
Don't be a camera.
Don't be a camera. Yeah, thank you.
Right.
Yes.
You're an artist. A camera's just a stupid machine.
No. Definitely no. Photography is art too.
And the dark side doesn't have to be totally black.
Yeah.
You interpret that as you can.
Mm-hmm.
So Nolan was already kind enough to share. Barbara was already kind enough to share.
Yeah, these examples are really helping me understand what you need. Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Can I Mr. Brewster, would you like to share?
For sure, I'll show mine. My vector project so far, I think, not totally complete yet, but I'll show you both three versions. The first one's my original photo. The second one will be my posterization, and then the third will be my. So I'll show you what I got so far.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll share. So this is my original right here. I mean, can you see?
Yeah, happy face.
Yeah, it's a happy face. And this is my posterized version. And then because so far in my it's not, I try not to like totally replicate it as much because due to lighting and shading generally, but that's the only problem you said is try not to be a camera or jag them lines. But I'll show you mine because I noticed mine is not totally complete, but because like do you see mine? My
I
self
can see it. I can see it. Can you zoom in on the face for me?
Okay, because I want to make sure that you think that because most of it's not very complete yet. So
It's okay.
yeah, but you noticed something that probably would have been better or anything like that, or like
Well, I have to say your lines are too jagged.
I know,
Yeah, you're actually tracing the posterization, which
I know that's the whole problem with
it's
this.
too much work too.
I
Oh my
know,
God.
I know.
You know, it's a lot of work trying to get all those jagged edges in.
Yeah, I
And,
spent a
and
lot
what
of
you
time
want to
on
do is
this.
bring only the, like Barbara was saying with her hair, you only
Oh
want to
yeah.
bring the jagged ones forward
Oh,
when,
I
when
see.
they flatter the composition.
Because that means part of it would be like you make some of these lines smoother or something like I try to figure out which one I should do, like the hair first or like because I've had many layers of this, so
Order of operations isn't terribly crucial. Some people go from small to big. Some
right.
people go from big to small.
I
The
see what you're
important,
saying.
it doesn't matter because you can always change the stacking order. You know, you can always put something below or something above, either with layers or just by keeping track of it. Now,
Right now I
I'm
reproduce
looking
it.
at your layers panel, and
Yeah, I know. I got a lot of here.
uh,
Because it's hard to do some of this because I spend so much time on this that I kind of wonder what you think. Let's see which one I should do.
so
Uh,
I want to give you some tips. Okay.
yeah, I know the diagonal lines like if I try to like find a way to change some of this or
Well, it would be easier to draw a new line than it would be to go back and try to smooth all the jagged ones.
so it has to be smooth for the most part because this is jagged generally as far
In
as
your hair, it's okay because
oh it
those
is.
might be, shades of brown
Yeah.
and light highlights in your hair.
Oh I
But on
see.
your
Yeah.
face, like
Yeah,
right
this
there,
is yeah.
yeah, you worked so hard
I
that
know.
I know what it takes to do that. I've been there.
I
And,
know.
and that
Yeah.
so it's totally not feasible to try to take that one and smooth it
Yeah.
out. It's
Yeah.
much faster and easier for you to draw a new one. But I want to give you some tips, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
I want to give you some techniques for drawing here. If you'll let
Right.
me talk for a minute.
Sure.
Okay. Um, first of all, I want to look at your layers panel. Could you scroll all the way to the top for me, please?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, you have 83 layers.
Wow, that's a lot.
Well, I don't subscribe. I mean, most of when students or almost anybody learns Photoshop before they learn Illustrator, they
Right.
have this compulsion to separate everything on a different layer.
Yeah.
In Illustrator, that's not really necessary.
Oh,
It,
okay.
it is convenient sometimes to separate things like background and foreground or imagery and print. But it looks as if every little shape that you've traced is on a different layer. And
Right.
I don't know, maybe you like looking at those layers, but all those teeny
Right.
tiny little pieces that I'm seeing in the thumbnails, they
Yeah.
don't, I can't tell what they are anyway.
Right.
And
That's true.
and the layers only have numbers. They don't have names. And how would you name
Oh
a
yeah.
patch on your face anyway? So
Oh
what I
okay.
would suggest, my friend, is that
Okay.
you work on just one or possibly two layers.
Oh, I see. Okay. So
You
I'll
really
provide.
don't need a different layer, because I've noticed also in that you're locking and unlocking layers as you go along. Oh
Yeah.
no, I can promise you, I can absolutely assure you
Okay.
that those layers will not jump off your page. They will not leave your page. It
Oh
is
yeah.
not necessary
If
to
you.
lock things. Now,
Mhm.
sometimes it is when you're doing something smaller on top of
Right.
something bigger.
Yeah.
Like maybe you're doing a small highlight on your cheek and it's on top of a larger, darker patch. Now,
Right.
what you want to do is just temporarily select the darker patch, go up to Object, Lock Selection, and then just temporarily turn it on and off. Under Object,
So it's under object right here, and
you
then
see
you.
Lock,
Yeah.
and then Selection. So you want to toggle that on and off. If you go to the trouble of making a different layer for everything and then locking it down,
I
you're
know.
gonna you're gonna spend all of your time in the layers
I
panel.
know. I know.
So I want you to let go, and other people, not just you, my friend, other people in this class and many students I've had over the years, they're guilty of doing this because they wish to stay organized and they
Oh
think it would
yeah.
be beneficial, and they learned it in Photoshop usually. But gosh darn it, you're hindering your work by organizing it so much.
Right. I know.
What I
Yeah.
would suggest is you do at this moment, you do a file save as, you make a duplicate piece. So you
Oh
still
yeah.
have this,
Right.
you'll make a duplicate, you'll name it something else, Portrait 2 or something, whatever. And you'll save that. And then on the new document, once it opens, just say, okay, it's fine. On the new document, when it opens, I want you to throw out all the layers except for the photograph
Yeah. Okay.
on the
So.
new one. So you're not getting rid of any of the other work that you did.
Right.
You're just getting a fresh start, because there's no way you can go back and smooth all those jaggeds.
Yeah. That's
It would
the
take
problem.
10 times as long as it took you to draw it in the first place. So
Right.
please keep it as an archive, but get rid of everything right now except for the picture.
Right. Okay.
And I want to see the picture by itself before I let you go.
All right. That's good. All right. So I'll just. All right.
Okay. You don't need the color one in there. You can delete that from this document. That's just making your document big.
Right.
Delete layer 1.
All right. So I'll show
And it
you.
looks like layer 77 is your background. You can keep that. Keep that.
Right. Yeah. Keep most of
Because
this. Yeah.
that's a drawn background.
Right. It is a draw background. It's a pattern.
What
Yeah.
is layer 76?
It's my personal logo pattern on there that I did. It's basically I based it off 2 articles that I downloaded from. It's basically, you know, the placement of text and image generally. So if I put
Okay.
the
Can I see that by
right
itself?
oh, you mean just the pattern, or you mean the?
I want to see layer 76 by itself.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So this is your background.
Right. Yeah. Unless it's a
Okay.
little too much for some reason.
Okay,
Right.
so that's cool. We can keep that. What I want to tell you about is to apply that background effectively, you would need to take this picture back into Photoshop and use your selection tool to delete the background around your head
Oh my gosh. Okay.
so that the pattern background could take its place. Because right now, if you put the pattern background in there, it's going to be behind your picture.
Right, it is. Yeah.
And if you put it on top, it'll be on top of your face.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we need to take this photograph, this original, and we
Right.
need to bring it into Photoshop and I'm assuming you're familiar a little bit with Photoshop.
Yes.
So do you know how to select the background away?
So if I select, you mean if I select the posterized image right here, right?
Well,
I
the
mean,
foreground is your lovely face and your body. The
Right.
background is everything else. Do
right.
you know how to select the background and delete it?
You mean if I delete the image, or do you mean just the background and?
So let me
Well-
state the question again. The foreground is you.
Right.
The background is everything else.
Yes.
Do you know how to select the background and delete it? Yes or
'Cause if
no?
Yes. So I just
Okay.
select him right over here, right?
Well, I'm not asking you to show me how to do it. I'm just asking you if you know how to do it because I need to know whether or not I need to show you.
Oh yes. Okay.
So you know how to do it, then I don't need to show you.
All right. Okay.
So that's the first thing you need to do if you intend on using that background. And that might be true for any number of students out there
Mm-hmm.
if you intend on doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
So
Right.
let's zoom into your face a little bit more. I'm not done giving you tips.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. And I would really like you guys to learn how to zoom in with the marquee, but that's all right because this cumbersome zooming in is just this zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, view, zoom in. It's crazy. What you want to do, and if you'll play with me for a minute here, William, is just put
Yeah.
yourself in your black arrow and hold still for a moment.
Like yeah. All right.
Hold
So
still,
right-
hold still, hold still. Thank you. Now hold down your space bar and your command key. And if you're on a PC, it would be a control key.
Sorry.
You should
Sorry.
know. So you've got your space bar down, and that gives you the hand, which I'm seeing. Now
Yeah.
add to that the command button or the
Command.
control button.
Yeah.
Well, you haven't done it yet because I'm not seeing a magnifier. I'm still seeing just a hand.
Right. Yeah.
So I want you to hold down the space bar.
There we go. Yeah.
There. Now, instead of just clicking like that, so what I want you to do is draw a marquee. So instead of taking 6 steps to zoom in, you do it in 1 step.
Right.
So follow my instructions now. Let go of the keys, let go of the space bar and the command key,
I already let go of it.
and then go command 0. Command or control 0.
Control Z.
That's
Back-
quick frame in window.
Right.
Okay. Now, I want you to zoom in on your right eye in 1 step. So hold down your space bar. That's your left eye, your right eye. See, no, see, you're doing it wrong. You're clicking. I don't want you to click. So zoom out again, command 0. I want you to follow my instructions.
Okay. Sorry.
All right, and before you click anything or even move your cursor, I want you to hold down your space bar and your command key until I can see on your screen it turns into a magnifying glass. Now don't click. Now move that up to your right eye. Now move it to the upper left a little bit. So it's off your eye. A little higher. Now, not that high. Right where your eyebrow is. Right where
Right
your
here.
eyebrow is. But on the left-hand side of your eyebrow.
The left-hand side. Yeah.
So see, so just a little higher. Okay, now draw a box from upper left to lower right that goes around your eye.
The dot box.
Yeah. No, see, you let go.
Yeah. There we go.
You gotta, okay, now draw a box from upper left to lower right around your eye.
So the
No,
box.
you're moving it.
I might just.
I only want you to draw a tiny little box, the same size as your eye. Ha ha!
There it goes. Yeah. There you go.
That's what I want you to do. Okay, and this is for everybody. This is a pet peeve of mine. And if you ever go to apply for a job and you have to do a demo and you can't zoom in and out efficiently, they won't even finish the interview.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay, everyone needs to be able to zoom in and out in an efficient manner. None of this click, 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 zoom, horizontal scroll. No, I mean, that's okay. It will get you to where you're going to.
Right. Okay.
But the amount of trouble that you spend moving things around is just crazy. So I'm sorry, that's a pet peeve of mine. And
Oh,
it's
sure.
something that I want all of my students to be able to do.
Yeah. Okay.
So I want you to start your drawing again, and I want you to draw in smooth lines and not kill yourself.
I see. Okay. Thank-
And if you need some jagged lines for texture, like in your beard and in your eyebrows or in your hair, that's fine. But you make a judgment. You understand? You have to.
Yes.
I can't tell you when to use a smooth line and when to use a jagged line. You got to figure that out
Sure.
yourself.
All right. Thank you, though.
No, thank you. I kind of used you as a guinea pig here, so thank you.
All right. So
Okay.
frustrating.
Stop sharing, and I want to see. How about Leslie, please?
What was that?
May I see your portrait?
Oh yeah.
This is critique day. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good.
Yeah, this is all I have so far.
May I see the original photo, please?
Yeah.
Turn off the other eyeballs. Ah. Not quite enough shadow, but when I see your posterization, I think we got plenty to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So first thing I want to talk about before I talk about tracing is your eyes. Could you zoom in on this same image we're looking at right now? Can you zoom in on one of your eyes for me? Okay, nice work. Now, see the pupil of your eye, your dark pupil?
Yeah.
And see how from this angle, it's almost perfectly round. So
Mhm.
your eyes are big and bright and beautiful. Very nice picture of your eye. But what I want you to notice is how the top of your pupil is jammed up against your upper eyelid. There's
Yeah.
absolutely no space between that. So you normally only see the whole pupil when people open up their eyes real big, like when they're scared.
Mhm.
So could you click back to your drawing for me, please? To the eyes on your drawing. Good, you've got them jammed up there, but it's as if, and I know you're not done yet, it's maybe not fair of me to judge.
Yeah, I'm
but
not done yet.
We need more eyelid over the top of your eye so you don't look so surprised.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Sorry, yeah. So let's zoom out a little bit. Let me see the rest. Okay. You can get a little smoother if you want, but I can see you've been smoothing as you go along.
Mhm.
Now, could I see that spot under your chin?
What spot?
The area beneath your chin? Now, again, it might not be fair of me to criticize, but you don't want to try to draw two colors next to each other without one overlapping the other.
Yeah, I was gonna fix
Yeah.
some
So,
stuff.
on the ones that are underneath, you actually don't even have to draw the contour. You only have to draw the contour of the ones that's showing. So this overlapping thing is what you want to do. And I can see that you've overlapped a little bit, but it's perfectly okay to overlap more. And when you come back and refine it, hopefully you'll see the value.
You muted yourself.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oopsie. The hardest thing to draw, I believe, is the mouth. The mouth carries a lot of emotion and character. So spend a lot of time on that.
Mhm.
All right. Good start. I look forward to seeing it come tomorrow. And once you get the hair, you won't look like you've been having chemotherapy.
Yeah.
Joke, I'm joking. All right. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer Lopez Camacho.
Yeah, I'll show mine in just a little bit.
Okay. Oh, yeah. That's looking pretty good. Yeah. Lots of subtlety in there.
It's not quite finished, but I'm getting there.
I like what you've done with your right eyebrow there. That looks good. Lips are so hard.
Yeah.
Can you, yeah, I want to see the picture once more. Thanks. Oh, not so far away. Okay, now you see it. All right. Not worried about you. Looking forward to seeing it next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Emily, would you like to show yours?
No. It needs a lot of work.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to see your picture though, because that tells me a lot on how easy it is for you to finish.
I'm still trying to decide which picture I'm using. So
Okay, I want to remind you about not looking at the camera and turning your head and having one side be darker than the other.
right. Okay.
So you got all that crap. Okay.
Cool.
Nicole?
Thank you.
Sure.
Oh, fun. Fun. Could you
Yeah.
get me closer to your drawing, please?
Sure. Oops. Like that, or
That's good.
okay.
Crazy hair, but most of
I
it's very
know.
dark. So that won't be as hard to draw as it looks.
Okay.
So you're drawing on top of the posterized one. I see.
Right.
Could you
I was wondering, is there a way, because for me, the color palette, I would have liked it to be, like I wanted my skin to be blue instead of pink. Is there a way to do that later after I draw everything? Or,
Well, that was your choice from the get-go.
okay.
That's why I had you get rid of the color in the posterized one, is because I don't want you to reference the original color.
Oh, okay. I see.
So that's what I was going to say next. It looks like you're, because zoom out for me so I can see. It looks like you're using the original as a
Yeah.
as a color reference. You don't want to do
Mhm.
that. You don't
Okay.
want to do that. What we're dealing is tonality. So that could be any color or colors.
Okay, cool. Thank
But
you.
generally you stay within a more limited palette. So
Mhm.
like, it's not like you want to do a bright red and a bright green and a bright yellow.
Yeah, I
Because that
didn't
makes
like
it
how
look
that looked.
kind of funny. But you
Mhm.
use analogous shades of a color or a color combination.
Okay.
And there are color themes inside of Illustrator. Are you familiar with those?
No, I'm not.
Well, if you open your window and it'll say color themes.
Oh, okay.
So you pop
Oh,
up,
that's cool.
so that these will do scientific color. It'll do complements and it'll do, so like you could do like you were talking about blues, you know,
Mhm.
there's lots of variation in blue from indigo to sky blue. And then you might bring in an accent color so that you wouldn't look like that lady on the X-Men.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. Stay smooth.
Okay, thank you.
And oh, also, I don't recommend that you try to draw that background.
No,
matter of
I'm
fact-
not.
As a matter of fact, the dark place beneath your earring there,
Hmm.
that should all go away because we can't even see. We don't need that in there. It'd look better if we could just see the side of your head and the side of your ear.
Okay.
Okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so
'Cause
I'll
on your
probably
other
go
shoulder,
back
it's
into.
clear. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was probably just gonna go back into Photoshop and just have the figure,
Yeah.
so it'd be easier to see everything.
Good. And then you could decide on your own background. And it might be fun to have you looking at something in
Yeah.
the image, you know,
Okay.
like maybe something's coming at you or I don't know. Because it's almost looking like, you know, you're really fixating on something.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Grace, are you out there? Would you like to share?
Hi.
Okay.
I guess I can share. I don't know.
Don't be shy. I'd
Really
be
want
coming
me to
around
do?
and looking at over your shoulder anyway. So,
Okay, one second. Let
okay.
me just pull it up. Okay.
Oh, nice start.
Yeah, I'm not very far on it, but I've started it.
Would you mind zooming in on those eyes? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, lots of work. Lots of work in the pupil and highlights. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
Thank you.
You
And
got
then
some-
I have my like black and white picture too, if you want to see that.
Please.
Okay.
Could have used a little more shadow, but it looks like you've got enough to trace there. So that'll work.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks good.
All right. Thank
Thank you. It's like the unshare in the bottom, I think. I don't know.
Okay, one second. Okay, there we go.
Maybe one of our
Wait,
colleagues
or
will
no.
help.
Oh.
It's
Oh
like
my
a little
gosh.
there you go.
There we go.
Yeah. Sometimes
Sorry,
it
that
hides
took
at
a
the
minute.
top and sometimes it hides at the bottom. Thank you.
Yeah, it was at the top.
So I've only got 15 people in the class. Here we go. Martine, would you like to share?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm on my phone, but I can use the camera to show you.
Okay. Oh. Wow. High contrast.
Yeah, and then I have the black and white picture. I don't know if you can see it well by the lighting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's amazing. And man, you got some killer hair. Woo! Look at that mop. No, I think it's beautiful. Could I see the drawing again?
Yeah.
A little more striation would be nice. I can see some grays in there. I see, yeah, it's not all black.
Yeah.
High contrast is okay like that. That's beautiful. It's like a print, you know, like a lithography print. Yeah, handsome lad. Good job.
Thank you.
forgive me if I hit anybody twice, but did we see, I don't think we saw Ashley.
Yeah, let me
Huh, I can see you. Oh, right. I
yeah.
actually saw this because you turned it in and I critiqued it.
Yeah. I didn't know what you meant about the white lines.
On the vest of her dress, if you zoom into the vest of her dress,
Oh.
there was white between the skin
Oh,
tone and the
okay.
color of the dress.
Yeah, I saw that on the PDF. I didn't notice that when I was making this. And then you said that the head was too big.
I know that in the original, probably the shoulders are turned a little bit, but it
Mhm.
looks, in the drawing, it looks a little bit,
Can I show you the original?
yeah.
Yeah, so it's like at a
Yeah,
sat
she's
at an
turned
angle.
away. Maybe
Mhm.
it's the belly maybe it's the bottom part that flares out too much on your drawing.
Oh yeah, that's my arm. So,
Ah,
and then I turned up the contrast so it would be easier to trace.
let's see can I see the drawing? Oh, that is the drawing. Okay, because I couldn't, it looked like solid brown to me. So it's your arm.
Mhm.
Because, even in the original photo, you can't really see your arm.
Yeah.
If I were you,
Um,
I wouldn't trace that detail. I would just slim up your whole front section there.
Then
Because
the
in the
separator.
drawing, it just looks like a bulge.
Okay.
So
So,
I would just make the torso thinner
okay.
where it bulges out on the left.
Right here.
And my other idea is your background is so very vibrant
Mhm.
that it distracts a little bit from your face, which is the foreground that we want. So
Mhm.
my idea was to have a plain background and have the dress,
Okay.
have you wearing a printed dress.
Okay, I can
You
try
know what
that.
I mean?
Yeah.
Even though it's not true to life.
Is there a way I could just copy it and then somehow fit it in there?
You can try dragging some of that background design into the swatches panel and it'll make like
Okay.
the other way to do it is
Oh,
with
yeah.
a clipping mask. So the shape of the
Okay.
dress goes over a piece of the foliage, that beautiful stuff in the back, and then it just
Mhm.
clips it so it looks like it runs off the edge. And if you want me to show you how to do that, I can.
Yeah. Can you? I don't know how to use masks in Illustrator.
Okay. If you wouldn't mind, stop sharing screen for a minute and I'll give you a quick tutorial.
Okay.
So I think you can see my screen now. So let's say that's the dress. And you've got the print of the pictures or of the foliage. Oops, didn't want to do that. So I'm making believe that these are the plants. You know, whatever they are. So you make sure that the print underneath is big enough to cover the whole dress. So ideally it wants to be even a little bigger than the dress. And then you'll put the dress on top of the print like this. And you want it to run off the edge like that, you know, to look like a real piece of fabric. And then just leaving the dress selected and nothing else. It's object, no, actually it's just right click, make clipping mask. Oh, I need to select all, I'm sorry. I always forget. So I said just to select a dress. I was wrong. Select everything, then right click, make clipping mask. So that print should have shown through and it didn't this time because I did something wrong. So let me just select all. Oh, I need to make sure that the dress is on top. So that would be arrange, bring to front. I swear it's gonna work this time. Then select all, then right click. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like that. So then your dress, you come back here, you know, and you can give that a stroke. Of some kind. And then that will outline the dress.
Okay.
So it would, I think that would be really cool and it would focus us back on your face.
Okay.
All right, nice
Now
work.
I can turn that back in, right? For a different grade.
You
okay.
bet.
Okay.
Well, because we had the advantage that you turned it in early, so we could do this. Awesome.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Good, good, good. Okay, maybe I'm working you guys a little too hard here. We should take a break. And then I would like to see everybody else's progress on their portrait. Or if not, please just show me the picture or pictures that you're considering. So I'll see you guys in about a half an hour. So say 11:45. Let me just add that to the chat. Thank you for those people who are adding to the chat. That really helps. So I'm going to type in break time till 11:45.
Hello. I have a question. If anyone's listening, I
Yeah.
don't know where to, I don't know where to find or if there is instructions for the self-portrait. Because like
Oh,
one.
I got the link. Hopefully this is it. Yeah, it's. Yeah. Check the chat.
Yeah.
Here you go. Yeah, I'm just trying to do my project right now.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, sorry about that break, miscommunication. In the chat, I can choose everyone, and I forgot to choose everyone, and I ended up just sending one privately. My apologies. So I hope everyone had a snack, and we can move through the rest of the day here. So we haven't seen everybody's portrait yet. So I'm going to go through the list here, and hopefully I haven't called in you already. Z, are you out there? Wang? Z Wang? I know I'm not saying it right. Oh, we got to look at your portrait already, didn't we? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I redraw one. I choose a new picture.
Awesome.
So should I share it to you?
I'd love to see it.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yes. Oh, it's much better. Yes.
My original picture is this.
Yes. You got it.
Okay.
You got it.
It's much better.
Yeah, it shows. See how much prettier you look this way too.
Okay, I will keep doing it.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So I have mine here. Oh, that's my face. Hold on.
Hello.
I have mine here. But I don't know how to, because you were talking about deleting the, sorry.
The background?
Yeah, the background.
Yeah,
So
I kind of. Oh, go ahead.
I have it in Photoshop, but do you just delete it? I like selected all the stuff outside of it. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, and then you would hit your delete key.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then just okay?
So no, cancel out of that. And let me see your layers panel. So unlock that background with the little padlock. Yeah. Try it again.
Aha. Okay, cool.
Cool, cool.
And then I would save this as like a PNG and then put it into Illustrator?
Yeah, anything will do. A PNG's file just fine. Or even a PSD or a JPEG.
Okay. But as for the actual image, is that contrasty enough, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's good because that nice dark place on the right side of your face where part of the edge of your eye goes to dark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Be careful that that bit below your nose on the right side of your face. You better be careful. Yeah. Careful not to make that too much like a mustache.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, yeah, good picture.
Thanks.
You guys are so cool with your little cameras that you can move around. I just got the one built into the monitor. Hey, Kelly, are you out there? Quinn?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Can you stand to share your thing? Can we see it?
Yes. Let me just pull it up. Sorry, I'm having trouble.
Take your time.
There we go. Can you see it?
Yeah, it looks great.
Thank you.
You got your eyeglasses going. Oh, no, that's just part of the picture. You took them off.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna add them in later. I just wanted to get the face skin tones down.
It is just awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool.
And then do you want to see the original photo?
I would. Yeah, that worked out really well, didn't it? Oh my
Yeah, it did.
gosh. Oh yeah. That's the good, you get the right picture like that. And it's got nice, contours where the light falls. Looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How do I
Woohoo!
stop sharing?
Woohoo!
Then I'll stop sharing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, Asia, have we seen yours?
Hi. Wait, can you turn it down real quick? Sorry for the noise.
It's okay.
So I'm just having like
Oh, we did see it.
Yeah, I'm just having technical issues like left and right. So Zoom won't let me share my screen, but I have it saved as a PDF on my phone if that works.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I know it's hard to tell, but
Oh, I saw this because you turned it in.
yeah.
That's where I saw it. Yeah.
After seeing everyone else's right now, I like want to rework the whole thing. So now I just like want to start from scratch again.
Well, you don't have to, and you may not have time, but if you want to, hey, that's great. You can turn it another one if you want. And the thing is, you pick up the skill and then you get better at it, just like anything else.
Yeah.
So hopefully this won't be the last one that you do. Maybe sometime you do it for somebody else,
Yeah, I know. I've already started working on other ones because it's really fun. I like it.
isn't it? I know when I
Yeah.
discovered it, it blew my mind. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa,
Yeah.
pictures are so boring. This is different.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, thank you so much. Looking good.
Thank you.
All right. Kahiana, did we already see yours?
I already mentioned that. Yeah, I'm still working on it and
Oh, that's right.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
My bad. All right. Lauren, are you out there today?
Yeah, hi. Sorry, it takes me a minute because my
Oh, you're
computer's
fine.
really slow. But here's what I have started so far. It's taking a minute.
It's okay. It's not arranged.
Okay. So,
Yeah. Yeah, we got to see this. We got to see some of this last week too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have it posterized now, and it's been going okay so far. I've just been tracing it in red because since everything's taking me so long, I have all
It
my
really
shapes.
makes. I don't
What
He
was
just
that?
says, he talks with such confidence that like you kind of feel a little worried, but then you realize it's Nick and so it's just like.
I couldn't quite hear all of that, but
I'm not sure where that came from. That wasn't from me.
I couldn't, the audio keeps cutting out a little bit, but
Yeah. I think it's a great start.
well, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's really going to be cool, and you've totally got the right technique on, and super good idea using red to differentiate. It's hard to see with a black line on a black and white thing. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing it next week.
Thank you. I look forward to having it done.
Okay.
All right. So there we go. Trying
Only
to.
at the top of your screen. There it is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It just takes a minute for my.
Hey, Robin. Are you out there, Robin?
Yeah, I'm here.
I wanted to tell you, you emailed me about the quiz. You can
Yeah,
take it.
so
It's open at any time.
I can take it. I tried to take it, but I can't.
It won't let you?
Yeah. Ah, sorry.
That's okay. We're good. We're good.
Okay. Just it. For the work. Can you see?
Yes, yes. Can we zoom in on the left, the drawing?
Oh,
Okay.
is that big enough?
Yeah. It's a mug shot.
Yeah, I will do.
You know what a
Most-
mug shot is?
No, sorry.
It's when you get arrested, you know, like maybe you commit a crime and the police come and arrest you, and then they take you down to the police station and they book you into custody and they take your picture.
Take a picture.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Or
Thank you.
they put you up in the lineup against a bunch of other people because you're one of the usual suspects. So you are an amazing artist, just like always. Everything you do is amazing, but you didn't follow the instructions.
Okay.
You were
So
supposed to turn your face away, and there was supposed to be dark on one side of your face and light on the other side of your face. And you're lit very well. You know,
Okay.
just like a nice photograph you would expect to be. But what we wanted was darkness and light, highlights and shadows. You know what I mean?
no, I know what do you mean. It makes sense. So I'll change it. Okay.
Yeah. Now, you know, I just want to make sure you know how we've been looking at some of the other ones, and it's very striped, you know, along their face. It goes from dark to light in bands. You know, I feel like I need to show you some examples.
I have saw some examples. I have saw some examples on this online image, so I think it's okay.
Okay.
I know what I should do. Okay.
Well, don't throw this away because this is cool too. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I must have missed somebody. Does anybody else like to share? Get a little critique here? Make sure you guys can hear me. Yeah, my mute is
I can
off.
hear you.
Thank you.
I'm still doing mine, and it's kind of it took a bit long because I have a bigger picture, I guess. But I can't wait to show you the finished project. Maybe like after this Friday.
Okay.
Oh wait, forgot.
Sure. Well, you can send it as an email attachment if you want, and I'll
Yeah,
try to get to it.
Yeah, I'll probably try to get most of it today finished. Maybe tomorrow I can probably send to you. I try and get this finished as soon as possible now because I've been busy with a lot of other classes.
It's okay, bro. It's not due till next week.
Yeah, I'm trying to, but still, I'm sure trying to finish as soon as possible. Avoid procrastination.
Thank you. Did I miss anyone? Is anyone else? So, there is no quiz 2 posted yet, Lauren. That'll be your final on May 8th.
Okay.
And I really appreciate the comments from Kahiyano looking at other people's work. That I think it helps everyone when they get encouragement from everyone else and feedback from anyone else. During these critiques, you're always welcome to jump in. Okay. We will have a final quiz next week. And I did want to point out a few things on that. Let me just pull up a document here. Bear with me for a moment. Okay. So I have a bank of questions here that I like to play with, and so it stays interesting. Here's a good one for you guys. And forgive me if this is redundant from the first quiz. Sometimes I mix them up. So what we're doing now is a quiz review, final quiz review for next week. You'll take your quiz in class, during class time, I mean. You'll still be home. Visual hierarchy is the process of emphasizing elements on a page in order of their, and then it's multiple choice. So to put it another way, you should understand the meaning of visual hierarchy. We've discussed it in class. They discussed it in your book. They discuss it in just about any kind of article about graphic design. There we go. You should know the color model, the color mode for different kinds of output. In other words, when we design for print, we design in a color model called CMYK. And when we design for web, we design in a different color model called RGB. So they're not the same because they're different kinds of output. So you should know the difference between a CMYK color model and an RGB color model, at least insofar as how they're used for output. So continuing on that vein, the kind of things I want you to know are how you would design, if someone gave you a job for the web or a job for print, it would be cool if you would come away with the knowledge of, at least some basic knowledge of how to approach that problem. So if someone approached me to do web work, I would not work in CMYK. And if they approached me to work in print work, I would not work in RGB. Now, those are your two primary outputs that you would design for. There's lots of other outputs, but everything these days either gets printed or it goes on the web, or even then it becomes an application. Maybe you can see it in your hands, you can see it on your screen. So how would you approach that? And in that mind, we also have to think about resolution. Resolution is different for print and web too. So when we edit images to be used in print, to be reproduced on paper, we want high-res images. When we prepare images to be used on the web, we need low-res images, or more correctly, images of the smallest file size. So we need high-res for good image quality on print. We need low-res or low file size, small file size for web. Web is interested in load time. If you upload ginormous documents into a website database and you go to look at it on your internet and it takes 10 or 20 seconds to load, ain't nobody going to wait for that anymore. Yeah, that's 1990. You should understand that between those two color profiles, CMYK and RGB, I'm back to that, one has a much broader range of color than the other one. So between CMYK and RGB, there's a difference in what we call gamut, G-A-M-U-T. So that difference in gamut is just a difference in color range. Gamut means the same thing as range of color. So it falls under the principle that you can display many, many, many more colors on a computer screen or any kind of screen than you can on paper to be printed. So ink on paper has a much smaller spectrum than the colors that you can display on a monitor screen. The difference being it's backlit. So when you look on a screen, there's light behind it. So things are bright and clear, and you can show transparencies and stuff like that, and you can see a whole lot because it's so well lit. Whereas if you print something, it's reflective color. Like you can't see the printed page if you're in a room in the dark. You have to have light reflecting off the pages. And then the fact that you can read it is there's differences between light and dark on the page. So black ink on white paper. Okay, what else? You should know the difference between a vector file and a raster file. Illustrator produces vector files. Photoshop edits raster files or pixel files. So you need to understand how that relates to resolution. If someone sends you a picture over the internet as an email attachment, or if you download something from the internet and you open that picture in Photoshop, by picture I mean photograph, you open that photograph in Photoshop, you can inspect it. You can inspect its size physically, and you can inspect its resolution. Those are both numbers. Again, we follow the paradigm of high res and high resolution for print and low res, low resolution for web. So where am I going with this? So you should be able to discern the difference between them and why you would use one for the other. And that informs the question on the difference between vector and pixel. So pixel resolution is limited, and vector resolution is quote unquote unlimited. So Illustrator or vector files are said to be resolution independent, and that's their awesome value. One of them is that you can use them very small or you can use them very big. I mean, really big. And they're going to look the same, perfect at every magnification. Not so with pixel information or photographs. They're made up of tiny squares. Each of those squares has a color range that when seen from far enough away creates a mosaic that gives you the illusion of full resolution. And it's great technology, but you can't have the size range that you can with a vector file. So we need both kinds. We can't do without photographs, and we can't do without illustrations. It's like a marriage made in heaven. But I can only blow up or expand or increase the size of a photograph before it starts looking poorly. So if I have a 4x6 snapshot that I took with my regular old Kodak camera, and it's high res, 300 PPI, let's say, and I want to use it on a billboard, the whole thing. Well, that's going to be a problem because when I increase it, the resolution, when I increase its size, the resolution will go down. So I can only increase it so far before the image deteriorates and I can no longer use it. So these are questions that every designer pretty much deals with every day. High res, low res, RGB, CMYK, load time versus image quality, raster versus vector. So by the way, a raster is a dot. So that's why some of these terms are interchangeable. So a pixel is a dot, a pixel is a raster. It's just the pixel is a square dot. So sometimes they say pixel and sometimes they say raster. And sometimes they don't use this term as much anymore, but it's still called, still there, bitmap. So that's also a synonym for this, a bitmap, because a bitmap is like a set of squares, a set of pixels in a composition. Okay. You can see as a human being more colors than any device can reproduce. So you might have heard me say before that you can see so many more colors on a screen than you can on print. Well, your eyes can see even more than you can see on a screen. So if we had to measure what a person or a machine, whether they could see more or less, the person wins every time. Now, of course, there's variations with that. You know, some people see better than others, and some people have certain kinds of color blindness. Some people see better than 20/20. All those things affect perception and color perception. But if the question ever came up, the gamut or color spectrum of human beings is larger than any device can reproduce or show you. So whether it's screen or print. Oh, this is a good one. It's kind of like advice. It's a true or false. In terms of commercial success, the ability to intelligently explain the development of an idea to a client or potential employer is at least as important as one's artistic and technical ability. So I'm going to read that again. I'll actually show it to you, but the answer's here, so I don't really want to. Let me see. So the idea here is that if you're going to get a job, no matter how good you are, you got to talk to somebody. You gotta show them your work or provide a website that shows them your work. You have to provide an electronic portfolio like a website, whether it's print or web. You know, you need somewhere to show it, and so that's all got to be looking good. The way you represent yourself when people can't see you, but then the other part is being able to represent yourself when people can see you when you're live. And usually it's not like this, at least not my experience. It's when you go and sit down with somebody and, you know, you get to talk to them. Real interview, like in an office and all that stuff, where you get in the car and, you know, wear nice clothes and take a shower and comb your hair. You know, get all spiffed up so you can go down there and make a good first impression. So the idea is that your ability to represent your work and what you do is at least as important as the work itself. So that's a true or false question. Anybody got an idea whether it's true or false? Want to jump in?
True.
I think it's true.
Righto. Thank you, people who always jump in, and thank you, people who always stay quiet. I'm being sarcastic. Yeah. So when, let's say you're preparing a print job in graphic design using InDesign, Photoshop, Illustrator, whatever, and it's going to be printed. It's going to be printed on an inkjet printer or a laserjet printer, or maybe even with offset lithography. Will the colors on your computer screen look the same as the printout when it goes to paper, ink on paper?
If you turn it to CMYK, it will. You
It's
have to
a true-
change the color gamut, right?
It's a true or false question.
Oh, true or false? No. False. Then depends on how good your.
One of those answers was absolutely correct.
So I got a 50-50 chance here.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about true and false.
Oh, true. That's true.
It's false.
No, I mean your statement was true. That was false.
Oh. Yes, ma'am. So the idea behind here is you're working with a client, and like usually it's freelance, so you're not working with anybody who's a professional. You just got a client, and you're designing work for them, and you send them a PDF proof over the internet as an attachment, and then they download it from their email on their end, and then they open it up in Acrobat to see it, and they're looking at the colors that you chose. Those colors will never, ever, ever look the same as when you print it out. It can't. It's going through too many lenses. It's going through the resolution of their computer when they see it. It's going through their internet. It's going through the internet, and sometimes colors can change depending on which browser you use. And also, the gamut, again, for what you see on the internet is much greater than what you can print on paper. So even though you may have designed it in CMYK and you have made a PDF and you're showing them everything, so the rule of thumb is it'll never look the same as it does on the screen. Now, there are screens that can reproduce. If I worked in a print shop and we had a special printer and a special kind of calibrated monitor that had to be maintained all the time, and it cost like $1 gazillion, and it was designed specifically, dumbed down especially, so that it would more or less, as close as we could manage, look like what we printed out on the other end after it went through the printer. We also had a special digital printer that was dumbed down, so it would print a reasonable facsimile of the colors and shading and everything as the final product. So those were all expensive things to do. So normally you and I, you know, Joe Schmo, we just got the printer, the what we have to work with, and very often we're sending proofs through the internet. So all they have to look at is that PDF through their computer screen, and it will be a reasonable facsimile of the color, but it won't. If color fidelity is an important component of the design, and usually it is, people are picky about color, then you just got to you have to educate your customer. So when I worked in a print shops in general, they would actually print out something like from one of their proofing machines, like I described, that we had in the shop that I worked in. And it would go through the mail, or somebody would have to schlep it over there, and they would inspect this printed document, this one-off that we made as close as we could to the final product before we invest in all that it takes to finish the print job. And they would sign off on it. And if they sign off, called a proof, they sign off on the proof, then we print the job. And our job is not to print it so it matches the color in their head. Our job is to print it so it matches the proof that they signed off on. So we bring that proof back to the shop, and that is our color god. That's what we reference everything against as we adjust color. So let me read the chat here. Are the art events 1 to 5 necessary? Yes, they are necessary, Nolan, but they're only worth 25 points apiece. So if you want to neglect something, that's the thing to use. That's the thing to neglect. Last class he said, if we didn't get it, he would remove it. Yeah. Oh. What am I supposed to remove, Kelly? Tell me.
We were talking about the bottles and the rolling hills.
Aha. Yes, you can throw out the bottles. Thank you very much. And let me check the other one.
So what we do for the art event, well, at least I need to please do, because I was kind of late.
You can turn them in on the 8th.
So wait, what's the art event?
What do you mean, what are art events?
No, the art event, like, that's due today, like choice 1 to choice 5.
Yes.
Like, what are you supposed to do? Because I was like late when I joined.
Well, that's been covered all through the semester, not
Okay.
just today.
Oh.
You're asking me for the very first time. I've been talking about art events through the entire semester. I'm sorry, bro.
Okay.
You need to know what those are. I'll tell you what, I will.
I was like probably focused on like other assignments and.
No, I get it, but there was a reference for it. So let me sure, I'm making a note now to post the reference again. So you can access it. But I don't want to take up class time talking about what an art event is now. Like, hello.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Are there any specific requirements for the writing of art events? Well, yes, there are. And I'm sure I covered this. So sounds like I better cover that from scratch. Let me see. Oh my gosh. In the very first page, right here under announcements and class info, right here, art events criteria. So this is a criteria for how you might write up your art event. And this has been here all semester long, so you could access it. I know I'm not good with everything, but so in your art event, please include title, date, and nature of the event. So I went to see Led Zeppelin at the SDSU Coliseum or whatever. And what did you come away with from the event? In other words, what will you remember about it? So I've been to gobs of concerts, because that's what we used to do in the 70s and 80s. And I guess people still do that, but it's a lot more expensive now. Anyway, it was approachable and affordable back then. And I've been to lots of concerts, and I only remember the ones that, I mean, significantly, I remember I went to them, but I only remember them, you know, with a whole lot of pleasure because they were really good. Like, top of my head, I saw In Excess in 1987, and it was just one of the most rocking concerts I ever went to. I remember all kinds of stuff about it. So that's what I came away with. Was there something, number 3, was there something, you know what? I'm not sharing the screen, forgive me. So in the regular 10 site, if you go to the first part, there's a section in there. Let me take you there. I believe you can see my screen now. So in the very first section of the site, before number 1, there's a link here for art events criteria. And these are the things that I've been reciting: title, date, and nature of the event. Then I was discussing what did you come away with? You know, what do you remember about it? What influenced you significantly or surprised you? And then was there something specific about the work that could affect or influence your own work? So that's the cool thing about art events. It's cross-disciplinary. So, you know, you think of maybe visual arts and dance as being different, or music and graphic design and painting being different, but there are similarities, and we can learn from and borrow vocabulary from other disciplines. Like we might say diagonals on a page impart motion, but real motion comes from a dancer, something like that. Number 4, did you discover anything that might change the way you look, think, or feel about something? Like, that is a little deeper, and you might not experience that at all. But that's where something moves you. You know, you're like, oh my God, I never knew it could be that fine, or I never, you know, have been impressed with such a piece of performance art, or visual art, or dance, or movement, or sound. That's, you know, that doesn't happen very often in your lifetime. It happens more when you're younger. Number 5, was there any flaw in the event that you found noteworthy and can intelligently criticize, not just it sucked? So I went to a concert once at Cal State, and it was that Indonesian music. Gosh, I can't remember it now, but they have all these drums, the name of it. And all the drums work in harmony. It's basically a percussion kind of band sound. And these guys had practiced, and they were purported to be good. And I went and watched the performance, and I did not get it. The percussion seemed syncopated more than it should have been. There didn't seem to be highs and lows and flow like I expected. And I guess maybe I wasn't trained to appreciate gamelan is what it's called. It just came back to me, gamelan music. And I could intelligently describe what I didn't like about the music. So number 6, or you'll go to a concert and maybe their voice is off, or they're out of tune, or they're out of sync. You know, there's lots of things to look at. Or maybe there's just they're really good and they're really tight, and you can't intelligently criticize them because the flaws are so small that you didn't even notice. Or the flaws were so small that they actually added like a human quality to the event, like rasping in voice is desirable, you know, because it gives character and feeling. Number 6, did you learn something about the discipline that you didn't know before? Like maybe you go to a symphony or a concert of some kind where there's a bass cello visible. That's like a giant violin, and it makes that boom, 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 like it's big as a man. He stands next to it, and it looks like a giant violin. So maybe you'd never seen a cello, you know, and here you go, see these dudes or these girls playing, and there's this giant violin on the stage, and there's this guy plucking it, and it's so big it has to sit on the ground next to him. Whoa! I never knew they could be that big. Ooh, I'm gonna read some chat here. The first episode of Abstract with Platoon is really good if anyone is looking for more events. Thank you. Oh, good. You're giving each other pointers. That's fine. And then finally, number 7, did you feel respect for the artist is separate from his or her work? So I've been to lots of concerts. Like I said, I went to the US Festival in 1982, which was a giant outdoor festival with 250,000 people or something like that. Lots and lots of people. And it was a whole series of artists that came on all day and all night. And one of them was Pat Benatar. And I was not a big fan of Pat Benatar, but when I saw her perform, I was blown away. I could not believe how that little person could make so much noise. And the noise was beautiful and melodic, and it was every bit as good live as any recording. And so I loved her performance. I still didn't go out and buy her albums, but I was blown away by her performance. So those are the kind of things you want to talk about for an art event. And if I didn't make that clear before, I'm very sorry. Okie dokie.
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
So at the top of that page, I guess.
Yes.
It says, or the middle of the page. Sorry. It says some art events are worth double points. These specific events I suggest in class are doubled in value. Are we still doing that, or?
I didn't suggest any.
Yeah. So.
Everything went to hell.
Okay, so there's none that are like doubled in value then for the art events?
No, I
Okay.
suppose I could be nice and say that I could count one of everybody's as double, but that's not fair to all the people that have already done 5.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what else we can throw out. We can throw out the bottles, like we discussed before. I was going to bring up that, and the thing is, if you're not going to do something, art events, 1 or 2 art events are the best things not to do. They're worth the smallest amount of points, 25 points. So let's say you did 3 out of 5, it would not affect your grade, unless you were bordering on some other issue.
Professor,
Yes.
on my grade book, I can see that there's a thing called Hevlika that's worth 50 points. Are you removing that, or is that like?
That's in 204.
I can see it on mine, and I'm only on this graphic design class.
Okay. I thought I pulled it out of there. Let me. Sure. Wait a minute. Yeah, you could. Let's do that. Let's designate that. Maybe this came up before and I forgot, but let's designate that as a double, and maybe that will satisfy.
I
And
see it
that's
right
all
here.
access to you. So.
I see it right here. It says the art event.
Oh yeah, I meant to hide this.
But then it's also not, so is that one also not required? But if you do it, it's
Correct.
it's extra. So you could do all of the art events and add that one, and you'd be getting double extra points, basically.
No, the total value points is only 125. This is a time saver.
Okay.
So yes, I thought that I'd only posted this on my advanced site because that's the one where I told them to look at the movie. But by all means, you could get this by Googling it up. It might be on Canopy, if you know what that is, which is connected with the school. It used to be on Netflix, but I don't think it's on Netflix right now. But you guys know how to get movies, and this is kind of one that I know is online. You might try YouTube and Vimeo. And yes, sir, I'm sorry, I did not think this was visible. So absolutely, you could do this and then just 3 others, and that would be 5.
Cool, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I hate to say no, so now I got to say yes.
And then just I guess confirm. You said the bottles was out. And
Yeah,
was
let
that
me
the
go
one?
to that next. Let me click that link.
Is it just the bottles one?
Let me click that link and show you.
Okay.
I gotta just go over to this other part. Because it's been a rough semester.
Yeah, definitely.
Not nearly as fun as going to school, and I never thought I'd say that. So we only got as far last week as soybeans. And I said we'd throw out bottles. So tell you what, since you've got so much to do, and I do take pity on you, and I know I've had my own problems this semester. I can't be expected for you to forgive my problems if I can't forgive yours. So why don't we throw out just both of those? Rolling mesh and bottles. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to put that in the chat here, and then I'm going to make a note and put it in an announcement.
Just in case you're wondering, I've done 2 of those assignments. I submitted those already.
Okay, we'll accept those as extra credit.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
so let's say you don't want to do something else, you could do one of those or both of those, and I'll give you extra credit for it. So that would be an available 100 points.
Okay.
Now, without the demo, you might have a little trouble with that. So if you'd like, well, I don't really have time to demo it today because
What?
we need some lab time. Actually, I do have time if I go fast. Anyone interested in seeing that demo?
I think you mean examples for both of those?
Well, and then I sit here and show you how to do it. But
Because
we really haven't finished the quiz review.
Right, we hadn't. No.
So if
I think it's
if
fine
you
as
want to
long
try
as
those on your own,
yeah, as long as the instructions are still up there. it should be-
yeah, they're in there, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're in there.
We're
And
good.
you could email me if you have questions or post it to the site in that question and answer area. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, we'll call that extra credit, and that'll give, if you miss something else, that'll give people a chance. Okay, but after this, no more negotiating about points, okay? That's it. That's it.
Thank you for doing that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
that's good. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
all of my classes are coming together at once in a really hectic way.
And how many units are you carrying, Emily?
I don't even know how many units, but 4 classes.
I think you have a
4?
few with me, Emily, and we're like getting slammed right now.
Yeah,
4?
well, I'm in 4 classes.
And Barb, you're in 4 classes.
I'm in 5, and one of them's accelerated. That one's kicking my butt.
And the main issue is that because all of that time, we took that pause, like that pause week to like get acclimated to online. And so now all of the classes are trying to make up for that lost time, but still requiring you're the only teacher I've had who's deleting some assignments. Most of them are carrying on with the same load. So
yep, same.
I appreciate it.
Well, when you're sitting on this end, you feel like there's an obligation to get through what you think is important. But I did expose you to at least one episode, one assignment that showed how to use Mesh. And you might work your whole career in Illustrator and never use Mesh again and be fine. So, although the hills were kind of fun. All right, let's go through a few more quiz review questions. And if I have any more, if I can put together a document for review during the week, I'll send that out. But if you've been, following along, most of this will be okay for you. Okay. You can't see my questions, all right. How many documents, or excuse me, so the question reads, rule of thumb for maximum number of fonts used when designing any given document. There's a number. It's 3. And many designers use less than that. Should know the difference between scaling and skewing. One is a proportionate size change, and the other is a disproportionate size change. You should know some of the values of PDFs. So there's many values to PDFs, and the question reads, why are PDFs a good choice for outputting to print? Well, they're a good choice because they reduce the file size of the design software. So if you designed it with Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign, that file is going to be bigger than the PDF that you output from it. We're always trying to manage file sizes. The other big advantage is you don't need the design program to open it. So if you sent me a Photoshop document, a .psd or a .ai Illustrator document, like some of you do when you turn in your stuff, which I don't like you to do because that forces me to have to launch the program, the Photoshop program, the Illustrator program, whatever it is, just to be able to look at the document. And that's cumbersome. And the other problem with that is if you used fonts that I don't have on my computer, then when I open it up in AI, there'll be a default font that takes its place, and that will change significantly how your document looks. I mean, imagine if you did all this great font work and then the font just defaulted to something, you know, that didn't look or act the same way as yours. Would really change the look of it. Also, you can impart security to a PDF. I can actually send you a PDF with a password, you know, and then like maybe call you and give you the password before you can open the PDF. Sometimes you do that for clients that you think might rip you off. Font issues are the biggest, I think. So before, I've been, like I said, in the print shop, I worked, before we had PDFs as a quote unquote workflow, we worked with loading and unloading different kinds of type for PC and Mac. And we had to deal with PostScript files that had to go through this tenuous process. And when PDFs came along, they got rid of all that. So in the publishing industry, virtually any publishing industry anywhere in the world, they use PDFs. True or false? Images downloaded from the internet will always print in high quality.
False.
Correct, false. So considering the color gamut between web design and print design, the question reads as follows. Wise graphic artists design documents based upon the limits of the final output device. So that means if I know I'm designing for print or I know I'm designing for web, I'm going to make certain decisions and follow them. Now, my rule of thumb is any print job I do might end up being a web job because we live in this world. And so I always work in high res until I don't need to. You can always work from high res and jump down to low res, but you can't keep just the low res files and then, oh yeah, we need that printed. Nope, you're in trouble then because you don't have the high res files. So that's kind of a tangent from this question. But anyway, let me read it again. Wise graphic artists design documents based upon the limits of the final output device. Explain, this is an essay question, explain why a good-looking website design, and please tell me if this, I sure hope this wasn't on the first quiz. If it was, somebody please let me know. Explain why a good-looking website design may not necessarily translate to a good-looking print design. So there's different ways to answer that question. One of them is the one I just mentioned, color. When we discussed that the range of color that a website can show you is much greater than the range of color or gamut that you can see on a printed page. Another reason might be resolution. So if I just have this low res web file and I don't have the original high res file, maybe I never had the high res file, well, that's not going to print well. So that's a problem. What else? What else? The answer might be transparency. So in addition to the range of color that the web will show you greater than print, because it's backlit, it'll also show you transparency, fine, smooth, detailed transparency because it's backlit. So it'll support a lot of those transparent designs where if you take that same file, even if it were high res, and you print it, a lot of that transparency just does not translate to print. So the answers would be what I mentioned: color, resolution, transparency, well, and the design limitation of designing with or without a lot of transparency. So same diff. So a lot of people these days, and it used to be totally different. It used to be totally opposite. It's so changed over the last several years that a lot of people these days, they design for the web no problem because they don't have to pay too much attention to where they get their images. If they get a crappy low res image, if it's not too bad, it still looks good on the web. So nowadays, that's easier than designing for print. Whereas in the old days, everything was first for print. And then this new technology called the internet came along, ruined everything. Okay, I want to end today at 12:50. Unless students have specific questions. I do have another class at 1:30. And I don't subscribe to the notion that we actually have to be online as long as we were in the class, as long as everybody gets what they need.
Professor?
Yes.
There is one question that's been floating around. We don't have a place to turn in the pattern brushes, the double meaning, or the word art or text treatments.
Oh, no. Okay, stand by. 204. I didn't. Give me that list again, please.
It's the text treatments, word art, pattern brushes, and there's one more.
Yeah, I thought you mentioned 4.
Yeah, can I see your list again on?
You certainly may. Just click over there. Oh, I already downloaded it, of course.
Oh, double meaning.
Double meaning. I will add those straight away. And you'll have a place to turn them in. Thank you very much. I really need a secretary.
No problem. Thank you.
Any other questions before we wrap it up at 1? Does anybody need, like you're stuck on something or?
James, I'm trying to compress my vector file for the vector bouquet. So right now, you wanted us to combine the 2 pages in a PDF and then send them both to you, and that was too big. So I'm going to try to resave it like you told us earlier. If I run into problems, I'll let you know if I
Yeah,
can't.
break them up into 2 if you have to for
Okay.
size. Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah, they don't let you go above 20 megabytes to put into Cougar courses.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of a bummer.
So if you built, you're talking about the bouquet, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna redo it though. I'm gonna save them all with not Illustrator capabilities, and then save the double one with not Illustrator capabilities, and see if that shrinks it down enough. I'll let you know if I run in. Otherwise, I'll just separate them and send you 2 separates.
Oh yeah. And the other thing you can do is, and you may have done this, and you don't have to do this, but if you built them all with symbols instead of the original flowers.
Oh, you know what? I bet I only did that on the bouquet part, but not on the flower part. Ah, yeah.
And
Okay.
there's one other trick to reducing file size that I haven't shared with you yet, and that's called a transparency flattener.
Oh, that's new. Yeah.
And I
What's
think
that?
I don't have, do you have Illustrator open by chance?
I do.
I can show you where it is. I think it's under object.
Okay,
It's
object.
one of those like object, it's like transparency flattener, and then it'll give you a screen that says low, medium, or high. Choose high.
It says, yeah, flatten transparency under object and then low, medium. Okay, so I choose high resolution.
Yeah, and sometimes it doesn't do anything, but sometimes it helps.
Okay. Oh, that's great to know. All right.
Yeah, that's
Good,
a
because it's.
don't tell anybody else that. That's shh.
Oh, okay.
Okay, just between you and me.
All right. All right. Yeah, you guys didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
All right, great. Thanks.
So you guys have been great putting up with all this Zoom nonsense and having to stay home. My roommate is sure getting stir crazy. I may have to kick her out on the street, but oh no, it's against the law to evict people, so I guess I'll have to keep her. So that pattern brushes remind me of a question that I believe is on the final. Pattern brushes are applied to strokes or fills. They're applied to strokes. Leslie, no, pattern brushes are not still due, but you may turn them in for extra credit. Oh no, pattern brushes. I'm sorry, I didn't throw out pattern brushes. Beg your pardon. Yes, it's still due. Oopsie.
Wait, Professor,
Yes.
can you repeat like what the pattern brush? What did you say? Was it true or false? The like.
Oh, it's
Can you
stroke.
explain? Oh, the stroke. So what was the question? I like didn't get it. It was like
Well,
pattern brushes
yeah.
needed what? Needs what?
Yeah. When we made a brush, it was a pattern brush.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And pattern brushes are applied to, like, if you apply them to an object, they
Mhm.
apply to the stroke and not the fill.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, I will post the recording. Yeah, you can wait till May 8th to post everything. I'm not going to penalize you for not getting everything in today. May 8th is fine. That'll be the last day we meet. That'll be the day that we have the final quiz, and then everybody gets to show me their, and everyone else gets to see your portraits. QR codes. Do folks out there have an idea how to include and make the QR code? We covered a little bit, but we could cover it again.
I had a question about the QR code.
All right.
What does it have to link to? Like, do I have to have a website already, or?
If you don't, you can just put anything in there.
Okay, so it doesn't have to like follow anything
It'd be
necessarily.
nice if you had a website, and this is supposed to encourage you to,
Yeah.
as an artist, to have your own portfolio site, because you can get so many clients for free nowadays.
Mhm.
So Isaac,
Yeah.
yeah, just put in anything, not porn.
Yeah, of course.
But if you go to, it's really easy. If you go to InDesign, just open up a blank document and under object, generate QR code. And then a screen comes up and you type in information, because it holds more than just websites. And then you say go, and it spits it out, and you can copy paste it from there into your Illustrator.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Wait, so the QR code could be anything as long as not like, let's say, like violent or like sexual, I guess. So like I could put like a weird like I'm just gonna probably link mine to like a this like screensaver of a pug licking the screen. Just because
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
You see, and that will show its function. That's what we want to know is that it functions. Where it goes, in the real world, you might have a portfolio site and it would go there, but
yeah, of course. Okay. But I'm just focused on my portrait, at least like I guess the big part of my face, then I'll probably do the minor parts like tomorrow or later, wherever I have time.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to focus my today and the weekend to focus on,
Well, it's not due till next Friday.
I know, but I want to like kind of.
You want to go out and play. I get it.
Yeah.
You're such a tease just telling us about it instead of showing us. So make yourself look pretty, okay?
I'm doing my best.
Yeah, make yourself look pretty. Me, there's not much I can do with that, but you guys still are young and pretty. All y'alls. I got socks older than you.
Probably not. Well, if you do, I feel bad for you.
Yeah, you should throw them out.
Yeah, those are old socks.
All right, y'all. If there's no more questions, you can get out of here and I'll end the meeting.
All right, thanks. We'll see you.
Thank you.
Okay.
See you next
Thank you
week.
very much.
Thank you.
Maybe if we do this through next semester, it'll be easier. So I'm going to say bye-bye. Good night, sweetheart. It must be time for lunch somewhere. You're all doing good work. Okay, I'm going to end the meeting. See y'all next week.